everyone, Hannah Saxon here, and today I'm going to start a new series with my newest friend and mascot, Azure the Husky. And this series is called which stands for Azure and Hannah's Albums. And just so you know, if I don't have a physical copy of that album, I will still review it. There are no limitations here. So without further ado, let's review the first album on this show, American Life by Madonna. Oh no. Time in the Shadows said that this album single-handedly ruined Madonna's career, but it'd be more accurate to say it made Madonna's career irrelevant in the eyes of the mainstream listener. Now, don't get me wrong, Madonna is a legend amongst 80s and 90s pop. 2000s onwards, not so much. I kind of like some of her 2000s output, like Hung Up and 4 Minutes. The rest ranges from okay to abysmal. Music, I'm looking at you. And critics say that the awfulness was topped on this album, American Life. So, enough stalling, let's get into the first track. It's the title track, American Life. American Life. This song, and the whole album, starts with Madonna's layered vocals. Sure, it sounds alright until we get to the main synth line. My complaints about this album mainly go along the lines of the production is a wreck. Lyrics don't really matter here unless we're talking about the horrible metaphors Madonna shoehorns in. The first verse is kind of transphobic, and the portrayal of the typical Americana in the chorus is too optimistic. Honestly, America is way worse than she says it is. The next verses are just repeats of the first verse, so it doesn't really go anywhere until the bridge. One complaint I have is that Madonna tries too hard to recreate the sound of her voice in her 80s period. You know, when she was at her peak. Okay, back to the song. The bridge is such a mess. There's another crappy synth line, and then she says F it completely uncensored over and over and over. I'm just not really that used to Madonna cursing. And then we get to the rap.
I'm drinking a soy latte, I get a double shot it goes through my body and you know I'm satisfied.
White women rapping never meshes well with anyone, and I am no exception. She mentions complete non sequiturs like soy lattes, yoga and Pilates, lots of forced rhyming. It's just so cringy. There's some questionable lyrics about religion at the end of the rap. And then we have a mess of a breakdown. And by far, that breakdown is the worst part of the song. Worse than the rap. Other than those nitpicks, American Life is an okay start to the album. It's an okay start for a so far okay project. I know we've only gotten through one track, but I'm going to say it. This is an okay album so far. Azure gives American Life the song a 3 out of 5. Track 2, Hollywood.
Everybody comes to Hollywood. They wanna make
This
it
song
in the
starts very
neighborhood.
generically with an interlude of birds chirping. Seriously, how many songs can you name that start with birds chirping? Other than that, the song is just okay too. The metaphor is bad, just like in the last song. It says that aspiring actors, directors, producers, etc. always go to a big movie or TV studio in Hollywood and almost never get the things they want out of it. It's a good sentiment, but the way Madonna words it is so dumb. The hook is decent, but the synth is... The only way I can describe that synth is with a big fat yeesh. She shows off her lower range a bit in the verses, and that's all well and good, but I can't get past the crappy production. On the fourth verse, and by the way, the verses and choruses are completely unstructured, There's an irritating buzzing noise, and it hurts my head every time I hear it. I was so tempted to skip it, but I have to complete the album for everybody watching. And then the outro plays. Oh my god.
Push the button, don't push the button. Trip the station, change the channel.
She repeats that sentence 4 times with so much pitch shifting. Pitch shifting is always a pet peeve of mine when it comes to music. And due to all that jazz, Azure gives Hollywood a 3 out of 5. Track 3, I'm So Stupid. Yes, that's actually the name of the song. So far we've gotten some okay tracks with some cringy bits, but here on track 3, we've gotten just plain cringe out of this. First of all, bold title. Second of all, more painful synth and a choppy sounding guitar. Third, right here it sounds like my CD is glitching out. This is the worst example of the horrible production on the album. With the instrument that kind of sounds like an automaton, laser sounds, stuttering, drum machines, and that painful high note. Ugh. Now let's talk lyrics. Lyrics. When she drops the title, she's referring to the people who are looking for something. Nothing specific, just generically something. This is confusing as all hell. We're stupid just looking for things? Also, when she says the word bubble, it kind of sounds like butthole. It's not exaggeration, just listen.
In a tiny bubble.
I just gotta say it. After 2 average songs, I'm So Stupid isn't very good. Azure gives it a 2 out of 5. Track 4, Love Profusion.
There are too many questions.
The most prominent thing about this track is the forced rhyming all throughout the song. Outside of that, the hook is just the line, "I've got you under my skin," repeated 20 times in total. Plus she whispers that line later on and it's kind of creepy. And as a small nitpick, the line, "No resurrection," really irks me with the semi-Christian tone of some of the songs. She said she wasn't a Christian in the first song, yet she mentions Jesus and religious metaphors more times than I can count in this album. But now, let's talk about the production! Dun dun dun! More complaining about the production! Yay, there's more stuttering, choppy guitar, and more laser sounds.
And I know.
Azure gives Love Profusion a 3.5 out of 5. Track 5, Nobody Knows Me. There's a bloopy synth, nothing new for the album, but then that synth leads into the verse drenched in auto-tune. The auto-tune lasts for half of the song. There's some stuttering and bad metaphors, but that's not very important. What is important is the repetition of the title.
Nobody knows me. Nobody knows me.
Sure, there's no auto-tune here, but it's still very, very grating to hear that title hammered into the ground over and over. She stutters the title later on, too. And Madonna apparently doesn't want my social disease.
Hey, I got a social disease.
Also, there's this effect that sounds like she's puking.
I sleep much better at night.
Azure gives Nobody Knows Me a 2.5 out of 5.
One eternity later.
Hey guys, this is totally improvised, but I had to go to work the other day, and I'm going to continue filming this video, so sorry for the break. I had to continue editing the following day, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Track 6, Nothing Fails. Except maybe this album. The beginning is sluggish as all hell, and the whole song sounds a bit too much like the first track, same key and everything. There's some stuff I already talked about in the other songs, like the annoying drum machine and the fake strings. Also, it's the first time we hear Madonna's poor vibrato, but it's certainly not the last time. Speaking of the first song, there's another bit about her not being religious in the chorus. It's repeated again and again throughout the last half of the song until... The choir is so loud when it first comes in. The singing, it clashes with the drum machine and it is mixed way too loudly. Also another nitpick, the song goes on for too long. Azure gives this song a 3.5 out of 5. I won't play any sound bites because there's nothing about it that's notable musically, lyrically, or vocally, so I'm not going to do any sound bites in this one. I already said that. There are a lot of songs with guitars in this album, along with statements about love and the G minor key, but that isn't the bulk of this song. The bulk of this song is actually the lyrics for once. The production may just be a simple guitar and minimal percussion, along with that one synth line at the end, but other than that, it's a pretty good song. The chorus has decent harmonies, and the lyrics are kind of meaningful, if not a bit hilarious at times, with the line, "It's easy to be lazy," and the part that mentions Satan, again with the religious undertones. The bridge is kind of epic with its build-up, and the vocals are kind of soulful, just like the backing guitar. It's a pretty good song, I'd have to say. Not great, just good. Azure gives this song a 4 out of 5. Track 8, Static Progress. No sound bites in this one either. Is this another love song? Well, kind of. Is she singing to her love or to Jesus? I have no sane clue. But what I do know is Madonna is repeating the sentence, "I'm not myself," over and over in the first verse. Aside from that, this song is pretty great. In fact, I'd have to say it's the best song in the whole album. It's performed acoustically throughout, with minimal percussion and no synth or vocal processing. Thank goodness. It's mellow and relaxing with the layered harmonies and decent vibrato. Still weak though. The end may have her 80s tone again, but it actually kind of works. In my opinion, this should have ended the album. But unfortunately, it didn't. Azure gives this song a 4.5 out of 5. Track 9, Mother and Father. After 2 acoustic songs, we're back to the synth and drum machines, and it's a jarring transition back to all that. This song is also semi-religious, and it's also a love song, and I'm beginning to get tired of all the regurgitation. More of the 80s tone is used, then there's some lyrics about Madonna being just a kid, and then...
I cried and cried and cried all day until the neighbors went away.
Another rap. And thankfully, it's the only one other than the one on the first track. She raps a little fast with jarring pauses in between them, and it feels like the rap ends before it begins. And then we have more layered harmonies, more weak vibrato, and more of her 80s tone, and more faded singing. Production-wise, at the end, there's some ahead-of-its-time trap hi-hats, and a piercing synth to close the song off. Azure gives Mother and Father a 3.5 out of 5. Track 10, Die Another Day. It's the second James Bond song I've talked about on this channel, and I believe this song was put onto the album last minute just to promote the movie. It's a drastic change in style for the album, with fake strings clashing with the typical Stutter's auto-tune and title repetitions. Also...
Sigmund Freud.
Why? Also, did she sample one of her own songs right here? That just me? I really don't think that's just me. Some of the iffy parts of the song, to me, are the interlude with the high heels clicking towards the end, the grunting before the second verse, the gunshots leading into the final synth line, and the endless repetition of the title. I hate it, but I'd have to give it an average rating. Azure gives Die Another Day a 3 out of 5. Last track, thankfully, track 11, Easy Ride. And no, this is not a song from a remake of Easy Rider. There was none. There's some dramatic sounding fake strings at the start that leads into a melancholy sounding intro with another guitar line. There's more metaphors in the lyrics, and it's the best metaphor on the album. In terms of production, there's some weak vibrato in the vocals, and we don't get any drum machines until after the second verse. The fake strings come in with the final stutters on the album, and the synth, which I've trashed over and over throughout the album, actually doesn't sound that bad here. The chorus repeats over and over and over, and it's kind of annoying, and then there's some syncopation to finish the song, and therefore, it finishes the album. Yeah, you can understand why I wanted this album to end with static progress. Azure gives Easy Ride a 3.5 out of 5. Overall, American Life, the album, isn't as bad as everybody says. There's certainly more they're average songs than good or bad songs on here, but there's a fair amount of bad stuff. And I'm not just talking the songs that are bad. The synths, the stutters, the weak vibrato are the weak points of the album, just to name a few. However, the good stuff is prominent too. There's the harmonies, the acoustic guitar, and Madonna's decent vocal range. The best song on the album easily is Static Progress, and the worst is I'm So Stupid. I'd say American Life, it goes into my okay tier. And with that, that's the end of my first album review. Any other words, Azure?
Be sure to subscribe, my lovelies.
Yeah, she's right. Like and subscribe, hit the bell to stay updated, check out Nate Edom, and remember, when opportunity comes knocking 4 times, you know what to do. Take care. Bye. Yes, we are now going to start a sub-series to my music top 10s. Azure and I... Whoa, whoops. And critics say that the awfulness of this album... Oh, frick. This song what the frick? I can't play any clips of this because I don't have any notable parts. There are no